This is where I grew up. I haven't lived up here in probably 15, 16 years. But this land up in here was my childhood home. Since then, a family's moved in, taken it over. But it is nice to see that a young family with kids is developing their lives on a piece of property that brought me so much happiness at one time. I remember when I was growing up, it was the mid-90s, and I was too young to be a part of Generation X, as they refer to it. All the kids out partying, the days of Kurt Cobain, Nirvana, the grunge era of the early 90s, 9 Inch Nails, things of that nature. And it was right on this property that I would walk around with a handheld Walkman with a cassette tape and earphones. I'd walk around and listen to Alice in Chains, 9 Inch Nails, and just kind of daydream. Because when you live in an environment like this, if you don't have a good imagination, you're not going to make it. Because there's nothing for miles out here. And when I was a kid, I hated it. Because on the weekends, I had little to do. I wanted to be with girls. I wanted to have friends. But there was nothing for me to do but walk up and down the streets. I can't tell you how many miles I've walked up and down these streets. All the times I used to walk up and down these fields, going as many places as I could. But then again, I just ended up going nowhere. And it's right here in this land, and all the things that I thought about when I was a kid that inspired me to do the things that I do today. All the poetry that I've written keeps referring very often in a lot of my poems to a large empty field with 50-year-old barbed wire surrounding it. And it's right here, this land, that inspired me to write those poems and to do the things that I did. And to come back to it all these years later and to see it just as it was then is a really emotional drag for me, because, I mean, this is like revisiting my past. They say that a man can be successful in large areas of the world. He can be successful in many areas of his life, but the one thing that most men are not successful at is going back home. And this was home for me. Even though the house that I live in now was the house that I grew up in, the house that was around long before I ever moved up here, I still consider this to be my first home. And all remnants of what was is long gone. The people I grew up with, all in this area, they've since grown up and moved away, joined the military, gone on to college, left behind. The only thing left is their parents, still living in the nice homes that they once called home at one time. And sometimes when you remember the past, it can kill you, because I've lost a lot of friends to drugs. I need more than my two hands to count the number of people that I've known of that have died of drug overdoses over the years. Mostly my brother's friends, but they were my friends too, because I grew up idolizing my brother. It's kind of like he went and paved the path, and I followed along. The path that I followed in my childhood was the path that he had carved out for me, because I wanted to be just like him. But coming back to all of this, it's a very unusual feeling. But everyone has their past. I'm sure you do. But think about it sometime, the adolescence that you experienced and where you experienced it. And try revisiting it. Go back to the memories that you once held so dear to your heart. Because when you go back to it, you'll find that the feeling that it brings about is a feeling that cannot be described. Also, along with a sense of sadness and a sense of nostalgia comes a sense of happiness. That I actually made it out of this goddamn place. But it's still beautiful, quiet, serene, calm. I think this is as close to heaven as you could get. And this time when I leave it, I'm going to be leaving it forever.